Montaha. I would
Yeah,
like to know more about you. Can you tell us about it, please?
uh, I am currently I am working in a trade union federation, which is a labor right organization. But my academic background is from environmental sciences, so that's why I was interested in these webinars. And actually, it was great to attend these sessions, and I learned a lot from there. So thank you so much for being there for us and do this hard work.
Thank you very much, Saida. My takeaway message is that Saida is from the environmental science background, and I would like to connect with you on LinkedIn. So I'll be dropping my LinkedIn profile soon, so we can connect and talk more. So the other person has left. Well, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I'm called Cindy. I'm from Africa. I'm from Cameroon. I don't know if you've heard of Cameroon before, but that's where I am from. Cameroon is located in Central West Africa. My background is in agriculture. I am a nature lover. I have an organization I run. I work with Waste 23. So I don't know if you've attended one of my webinar session because I was actually taking this, though I'm done with it. I was taking a session on training youth and farmers on black social fly farming. But I will be handling voucher production very soon. Since you are an environmental lover, I really like to be seeing you in my classes. Yeah, that's all about me. I love agriculture. I love nature. In fact, I love anything that's sustainable. So, Adiba, please can you introduce yourself?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
How are you? Hello.
Yeah, we're doing fine. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little about why you're here?
Yeah, I am from Pakistan and myself Adiba Anwar, and I enjoyed this webinar very much. It is very informative.
Thank you. Welcome to the fifth week of Westfield 23 webinar series. Today, our topic is about funding, policy, and collaboration. So, let me tell you a little about why these three things are important and crucial. This is basically what Westfield 23 does in terms of uh, helping waste management. So you need funding to do waste management on a big scale, create a big impact. And then we have to go through some policies to so that we can do it in a right way. And we need to collaborate with different organization, communities, and the leaders so that we can grow our impact. So that's basically what today's session is about. Whether it is you are working with organic waste, whether you are working with solid waste, biochar, or you are working with plastics, you need to work with these three things to succeed. Okay, so as I said, that's what basically was 23 does. It's part of what we do, actually. So our mission is to empower the 2 billion people around the world who are living with unmanaged waste. We help them manage the waste and create jobs out of it, and so that they can live in a more cleaner environment. So we're creating a global impact, operating in many countries, and by doing that, we're reducing waste. And we have many initiatives going on around us. To begin with, we can speak about check solar hybrid community kitchen. So what this basically does is that if you have any idea about community kitchen, you know that community kitchens are basically a place where the community members, they have a shared kitchen. So we have designed and implemented a zero fuel, zero pollution cooking solution that is community designed, community built, and community management. And then we have pencils for plastics. It's a program where in schools, basically the children are taught about waste management, cleaner environment basically, and they collect the plastics around them, and as an award, we provide them with pencils or whatever award of their choosing. And we also go through community collaborations to really spread an impact, which will be talked about really soon. Okay, so in our webinar series, there are 6 weeks basically. The first week, it was about, that was presented by Cindy. And it was about waste management strategies and basically an introduction to black soldier fly. And on the second week, we talked about plastics recycling and upcycling and how WSP23 does it, and our community engagement in these recycling initiatives. Then on the third week, we started on a BSFL farm, how we can build it from scratch and get it to success. Then on the week before this week, we kind of had a session on advanced BSFL, how it can be food to animals, it can be a good fertilizers, and its further potentials. And today, this week, we'll be talking about investing in a waste-free future. So let's go ahead. So to do any kind of waste management work on a big scale, if you are working with mainly plastics recycling, you will need some money to set up a machinery and carry the workout. And if you're working with BSFL on a small scale, then you don't need much funding. You can just basically start. But if you're working with the BSFL or biochar on a big scale, then you are going to need some outside help so that you can start the process. To get the grants, to get the initiation, you can go to different platforms like Fund for NGOs, grants.gov, and they can provide you information to grants. Then you can search through those grants and see the project priorities, the donor priorities, and you can align your project goals with them. Then you can apply for the grant. So what's WSP23's role in it? We assist the communities in identifying and applying for these grants. We basically provide them with the grant information, and we ask them if they want to apply for it, and if they match with it, they apply for it, or we assist them with the, we apply for them. We have volunteers who help us. And since we're talking about funding opportunities, it's good that we talk about grants life cycle. So there's the P-word award phase where planning and development of the program takes place, and then they spread their information so that applicants can apply. Then they accept and review those applications. Then on the next phase, they award the grants. So in this phase, they work with the awardees on a final agreement and they award these funds. On the post-award phase, this is the most important phase. They see how the awards are used, the funds are being used, and they collect the progress reports, see how it's working on a year or 2 year or 10-year cycle. Okay, so after that, we need to talk about policy regulations. So what policy regulations in terms of waste management does is that it establishes a framework for effective waste management. So if there's no policy to go through and we are kind of doing whatever we want and following no guidelines, there can be some harmful results. So for this reason, in US, RCRA is an act that governs solid and hazardous waste management. So you have to follow through this act and act according to it so that you can effectively manage this waste. And the third point, which is the most important, and we faced some issues with it. There are some local guidelines. If you're going to do BSFL or plastic recycling or biochar, working with any kind of waste management, you need to talk to a local authority about what are the policies there. Because there are stories like someone went to collect plastics in Kenya and they collected without hand gloves. So that was against their rules. And we always provide these guidelines so that you can effectively do your waste management. Okay, so let's talk about collaboration. And following these policies, we can collaborate with any community around the world. And it hasn't been much time since we joined with Manon Gecko. Philippines, it's an organization in Philippines that help and inspire the local communities to live alongside the marine environment in a sustainable way. So we joined our efforts with them and we created products from recycled plastics. So on the image on the top right, you can see that they're working with heat press with plastics. They're upcycling it, creating plastic sheets out of it. And after molding, on the image on the left bottom, you can see that a roof is created. So in these roofs are important. They are beneficial in many ways. First of all, you can sell them. So you are eliminating plastics and selling to create jobs. And these roofs have additional benefits in comparing with the. And we're creating an impact through this initiative, this collaboration, which is that we are upgrading the skills of the community members. So let's talk a little about networking and training opportunities that WestFit 23 provides. first of all, there's the Westfield 23 that offers courses and resources. You can basically go to westfield23.org and you can go on our homepage, and on the drop-down menu, we can see that there's a Westfield 23 University that lays out basically all of the courses, the knowledge that you need to start waste management. Then we have Shack program that I earlier talked about as zero fuel, zero emission, zero pollution cooking solution. That is community management. And then we have what we're doing here right now, a webinar series that covers various aspects of waste reduction and provides you the information and education to start your own journey. So then we are going to talk about another collaboration that we had, which is with Wasini Island, which is based in Kenya. I'm not sure if Bilal is here with us today. No, he isn't. So Wasini Island, as I said, it's in Kenya. So it's a remote island, and it used to face a lot of waste management challenges. After collaborating with Westfield 23, basically collaborated with Dolphin Bay Safari's local guide, Bilal, who collected a lot with some volunteers, collected a lot of plastics. He first of all sold them, then he built a heat press that he could carry in a boat around different parts of the island and upcycle the plastics right there. So you can see that story from the image below. So I think it's kind of the end of this session. And to summarize, we started with funding opportunities, how you can apply for them, how you can get those funding. And we also talked about policy regulations so that you can do your waste management work in a well frameworked way. And then we talked about some collaborations that we had. So for encouragement, what can I say? Use whatever resources and partnerships you have. If you are inspired enough to do something good for your community, then you can start with basically nothing. You can do BSFL basically with a tray and some organic waste that you have laying in your yard. So, and use partnerships, talk with local organizations to help your journey. So if you're inspired enough, there's no reason to wait. So as this is kind of the end of this session, let me tell you that we have another session on the next week, this time, and it will be on bioshare. So stay connected with us. So I think this is the time for an open discussion. And if you have some questions, please ask away. I see a lot of okay, so if you have any questions or if you want to discuss anything, please raise your hand. Okay, so I'm reading from the chat box. Hello, Cindy.
Hello, Saigo. Well, I just wanted to ask a question that was asked by Community Development Initiative. He said the last time he checked, the minimum cost was around 10,000 USD. So he is asking that please share the link to apply and also apply for us. There's a lot of waste in my country. There's a lot of waste in my country, and he's kind of explaining that plastic pollution is a very huge problem to them. He says most companies are doing businesses with plastics, and it's a very big problem, as I earlier mentioned. So he's actually asking you to send the link. That could you help them the link so they apply for the grants, or you can assist to apply for them.
Okay, so I have provided a link that is basically free, and you can go to this website and see if you can apply for the said grant. And if you have face any issue with applying, please contact us, contact me, so we can. Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. I hope he's okay with your response.
Yeah, I have provided the link to everyone. I accidentally sent it to you last time. So on the second part, you asked that you wanted to discuss that most companies are doing business with plastics like water plastics, bottles, and more in your country in Liberia. Okay, so yes, in many countries, mostly third world countries, there are basically people are collecting the plastics and just selling it. And this is not good because we don't know what the plastics end up, where the plastics end up. And what Westry 23 does is, and trains, empowers, and inspires you to do is that you take the plastics and you upcycle it yourself. You don't need much. You just need a heat press and a plastic shredder, and that basically it. So this time we do it ourselves. Uh, we don't know what the businesses are doing. If they can just be emitting harmful gases while processing. Yes, I am providing the link. The link is grants.gov. This has many grant information, and there are grant circular that many grants provide, so people out there can apply for it. And grants.gov collects all those uh, grants and lists in their website, so you can see which one you qualify for. And there are many websites like it. Okay, so if you're hesitant to talk, can I just call someone out and ask them uh, about the initiative, why they're here, and what can we do for them? So, can I ask?
Yes, Saido, you can go ahead and ask.
Mr. Clever?
I think you can just ask one person.
Hello, Mr. Clever. Can you just tell us a little
Yes.
about? Yes.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'm so glad to have joined this meeting, and I believe it's quite beneficial to me. So, as my colleague put, here, even in my country, Malawi, we are experiencing a much worse, whereby if we may have maybe the interference by you, it might help. So as my friend was asking about grants, because what all matters is that support us to move to show in our efforts. Because individually we have that much interest to make sure we are waste free, even in our country. But now would be limited always because of maybe they are funds. So if maybe we can be supported, if we can qualify for any kind of funding, that can really help. So that was my much interest that I'm having as well. But actually, I'm an environmentalist. I'm a graduate in environmental management. So we are working against any kind of pollution. So if we have people like you coming in to bridge the gap, that is we are very much happy. So I'm clearly following you guys, and I hope I will follow you, and I think we will work together because we are looking for partners. We can work together so we can be a waste-free country and a waste-free global. Thank you.
You're welcome. That was great. So that's where we start. Westwood 23 will help you guide through your journey because you are, first of all, had a formal training and education in waste management. So you can provide a lot of impact. You can do the work at a large scale.
Yeah, and I want to another more question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Of course, I joined the meeting very late, but my question would be, how do you provide such trainings? Is it via online? Maybe you call people somewhere in a certain country and or, train them in this program? Maybe how do you offer the trainings? Is it online trainings?
Yes, yes, yes. It's basically online training. But if you have anyone near you that has some network with Westfield 23, then the person has also the training and the person can teach you. But basically, if you are in a location where we haven't had any, haven't provided any training before, then we have to provide you through online, and we will do all we can to help you. So in our online courses, we will supervise what you do. So we'll basically talk through WhatsApp to connect and overview what you're doing and guide you through the process. So if you want to do it the right way, I think that's enough. So yeah, that's how we train.
Okay, maybe in Malawi, do you have some other members in Malawi? Maybe I'm the first person.
No, you are not the first person in Malawi, so I think you get a lot of help from your fellow community members.
Because I was looking at like here in Malawi, if we can be maybe more than 2 or 3, 4, we can make up a network so that we can be a successful team at the end of the time. So if I may get in touch with the other team, that can really help. We can make
Yes,
up a network and move forward so that your trainings can be beneficial. We are a team. We can cook something very better for uh, our country.
okay, so I have provided my WhatsApp number. You can just send me a text on it and introduce yourself. Then I can direct you with I can connect
Yeah,
with the community members in Malawi that we had previously working with. Okay, so do you have anything else to talk about? Is there anyone else had any discussion or questions?
I think for now, as for me, it's enough. Maybe I can I'll be able to follow you on WhatsApp.
Yeah, just send me a text. Thank you. Thank you for joining and talking with us. Okay, if we don't have any further questions or discussions, then I'd like to thank you all for joining and helping this session continue. Without you, it couldn't have been done. So let me remind you that the next webinar session is on biochar, and like any other waste management tactics like BSFL or plastics recycling, it's another yet compelling and useful waste management way that deals with solid waste management. So thank you again, and have a nice day. Bye bye.